If you've been around since Overwatch 1, you probably remember the moment the game grabbed you. For a lot of us, it wasn't even the game itself, or rather how the game looked back in the day. It was the cinematics that made you want to play as those characters. And yep, for me it was Dragons. The Hanzo and Genji one. I mean, yeah, it was so good. It was just so peak, holy shit. Because back then Overwatch didn't just feel like a brand new shooter. It honestly felt like this whole ever-evolving and breathing world, and Blizzard was insanely good at that style of storytelling. I mean those emotional animated shorts, or even just voice lines between characters. That implied that there was something bigger happening off screen. And when they actually put story in the game, like Archives, Uprising, Retribution, and Storm Rising, I mean it wasn't some massive campaign, but it mattered. It was proof that the lore wasn't just an extra, and it was part of the whole identity. So even if you were just a pure ranked grinder, Overwatch still had this thing that other games really didn't. A soul, and characters you actually cared about. And then we all know what happened after that. Overwatch 2 gets announced, and whether you liked the idea or not, the promise was clear. Bigger story alongside story campaign, with lore actually moving forward pretty much for the first time. But the launch didn't really feel like a sequel. It honestly felt like a soft reset with a lot of content pretty much removed, and of course, later PvE plans that people associated with the sequel just didn't happen. And for a while, Overwatch felt like it was stuck in this weird limbo. Not dead, I mean never dead, but not alive the way it used to be. And then, this year's Spotlight happened, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. But for the first time in a long time, it feels like Overwatch is moving again. Because Blizzard didn't just drop a normal season, they basically relaunched the whole game. First, the most symbolic thing possible. They removed the two. So the game is just Overwatch again. And you can argue about the branding all day, but the message is obvious. They just wanna move on from the sequel branding, especially knowing that the 2 was heavily connected to the PvE. And the second thing they did? They brought story back, in a way that feels like old Overwatch. The Spotlight kicked off with the Reign of Talon cinematic, featuring Vendetta fighting Doomfist. And they didn't just stop at animated short, they're doing this as a full narrative arc across the year, told through in-game stuff and external media like cinematics, comics and short stories. That's what made Overwatch special in the first place. The feeling that the game wasn't just new skins every season, but it was a world that kept unfolding. And then Blizzard did the other thing that instantly tells you they're serious. They dropped 5 new heroes at once in Season 1. 5! That is not normal for Overwatch standards. I mean, up till now we got around 3 new heroes every single year. And it's not even 5 heroes over the year, it's 5 right now. And there is 5 additional ones coming in 2026. So pretty much this year only we'll get 10 new heroes. That's really impressive. So, regardless of what you think about any individual kit, that move alone changes the whole impact of each season. Because it looks like that from now on there won't be any filler season. Especially knowing that each one will bring brand new character. And you know, the most important update that can happen in a hero shooter are the heroes themselves. And yeah, speaking of heroes, we have to talk about the obvious star of the show.
The cat.
I mean, we can all agree that this character was made for clips, and it's definitely a good thing. This cat alone brought so much attention compared to the other characters. She pretty much encouraged many players that already loved the game to give Overwatch another chance. And yeah, that's how you rebuild a player base. You make people curious again. And then you get the number that basically confirms that the comeback isn't just speculation. On Steam alone, Overwatch hit an all-time peak of 165k concurrent players. Steam isn't the whole player base, we all know that, but that's why it's such a strong signal. Because Steam is usually the harshest crowd for Overwatch. So if Steam is breaking records years into the live service era, it means one thing: people didn't just hear about the new update, they actually wanted to try it out. And from everything we've seen, the reception has been surprisingly positive. Enough that even coverage is calling it a major resurgence. Now, does this mean that everything is fixed forever? No, obviously not. Dropping 5 new heroes at once is hype, but it's also a balance challenge that many competitive players will simply not enjoy. But on the other hand, it will change the variety in the meta. And that's kind of the point. Overwatch feels best when it's active, when it's moving, when Blizzard is actually shipping ambitious stuff and the community is reacting in real time. And right now, it feels like Blizzard finally has that urgency again. And yeah, I'll say it carefully, I do think that competition actually helped. I mean, even Overwatch devs have said that right, that competition is healthy and it pushes innovation. And a lot of the community has been saying the same thing, that Marvel Rivals being a real alternative lit a fire under the whole space. And honestly, that's a huge win for us, because if Overwatch improves, Rivals improves. And if Rivals improves, Overwatch improves. We get better games, we get more content, we get dev teams that can't afford to coast. And Overwatch, the game we've all stuck with through those weird years, finally feels like it's pushing forward again. So when I say it's back, I don't mean Overwatch is perfect, I mean the things that made Overwatch special in the first place, like story, personality, big swings. They're all here again. 2 is gone, the story is moving forward with cinematics, comics and more stuff like that. 5 new heroes at once with faster hero cadence promised for 2026. And Steam numbers getting to their all-time peak. And yeah, that's a real comeback attempt with a real weight behind it. So I want to ask you, do you feel it too? Does this actually feel like Overwatch is back, or do you think it's just a launch spike? And yeah, what's your take on the new story direction? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I will be definitely reading them. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.